As a coach, one of the most difficult things to do is to determine how to effectively price your services. Now, I like to say that you'll want to find a middle ground right in between ridiculousness and resentment. Let me explain. You don't want to price so high that it feels ridiculous and you're not even aligned with it and people won't buy. And you don't want to price so low that you later become resentful for offering your services at that price. So you want to find that happy middle ground in which you can price your services. Now, a lot of people will still have questions about how to get there. So let me break it down in 3 simple steps that you can use to effectively price your offers as a coach. The first step is to do away with 9-to-5 thinking. This may probably be the hardest step of all, but it's so important. The truth is, when we're in a 9-to-5, they determine our value and our worth based on our hourly wage, and then we adopt that. So I know for me, when I was starting my business, I would always say, okay, at the time I think I was making like $25 an hour, and I'm like, oh, if I can just get 40 clients at $25 an hour, then I'll match my take-home pay. But trying to work with people for 1 hour at a time and 1 hour at a time and 1 hour at a time was going to be exhausting. And trust me, I tried it. I got to the point of having about 20 calls a week and was ready to throw in the proverbial towel, because it's not just a call. You're putting in work ahead of time. You're putting in work after. You're doing research. You're laying the foundation. You're getting online and connecting with people. Needless to say, it exhausted me. And so I had to go back to the drawing board and to redefine how I should think as an entrepreneur. So the best way to consider this is to determine what it is that you want to make per year, and then break that down by the number of weeks that you're willing to work. Now, some coaches will say that you should break it down to the hourly wage or to, a daily rate or something like that. But for me, I know a lot of times I'll take time off. So for me, I like to work about 3 days a week. And I will say that in that week, I want to make a certain amount, and then I multiply that by 52. And that gets me to my annual number. This allows me to really focus on pricing my products to serve that. So let's say, for example, you know that you would like to have, a $2,000 week. Let's just break it down that easy way. And you know that you have many offers that could fall under that. Maybe you're selling a one-on-one. Maybe you're selling a coaching program. Maybe you're selling a group course or something like that. You need to determine how many of those you need to sell per week to be able to equal the annual overall goal. While this can sound like a lot of math and overwhelm you, the truth is, if you break it down like this, it feels more manageable and more like bite size, right? For me, when I would think of a 10K month, that felt extremely overwhelming. But then when I took it back and I was like, ooh, that's only a 2.5K week. And oh my goodness, I have one program at 2.5K. If I sell one of those this week, and then the next week I sell 2 of my intensives, and then the week after that I sell 5 of my small courses, and then the week after that I sell 2 more intensives, or whatever it may be, the truth is, it didn't feel nearly as overwhelming as thinking about how do I get to 10K or how do I get to 120K. Breaking it down seemed more manageable, and that's the goal for sharing that with you as well. The second step is to consider your program or offer promise. This is so important, okay? I have a very, very good friend of mine that I was working with who was offering services, one-on-one services for $50 an hour to teach people how to effectively learn how to invest. And as he was offering these services, people were getting a return of $500, $1,000, $2,000. One person got a 5K return. Now listen to this. If he's charging $50 and they're getting a $5,000 return, is that really worth it? It's so important to consider your promise, because your promise is something you'll also want to effectively weave into your pricing structure as well. One question that I often get when I talk about this step in the process is, what if there's not like a tangible financial result? And here's the thing. Let's say, for example, you're a dating coach and your promise is that you're going to get them a new date to take home for the vacation or the holidays or something like that. And you promise this to them. What are they saving money on? Are they saving money on hiring a coach to go out and look for it? Are they saving money on the dating website? Are they saving time on not having to search through all of this, right? What are promises that you're giving them, and how are you saving them time or money in the long run is something that you'll definitely want to consider. The third thing you want to factor in is your expertise. Now, let's just do away with this concept that in order to be an expert, you have to have all these letters behind your name, or you have to have some fancy certification or degree, or you have to have earned something. The truth is you are the expert for some reason. Maybe you've gained your expertise through experience. Maybe it is through a certification or a degree or something of that nature. The truth is you're the expert and you're called to do this for a reason. And here's a little caveat, guys. You only have to be 1 to 2 steps ahead of your client. And if you can get them to where you are, you're still creating and facilitating that change that they desire and deserve. So take some time today to consider all the reasons that you're the expert. Did you go through some certification program? Did you get some sort of training? Do you have life experience? Have you facilitated or supported this change or growth or expansion with somebody else? Write it all down. Everything that comes to your mind, write it down. Write down why you're the expert. There's a story by Picasso that floats around in the personal development space. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it's true, but it resonates so deeply with me, especially when I was stuck at this place of determining my pricing structure. So Picasso's at a restaurant. He's like drawing on a napkin, and a lady walks over and she's like, "Oh my goodness, that drawing is so wonderful. Like, can I have it?" And he's like, "Yeah, for $10,000. She's like, "You drew that on a napkin in 5 minutes." And he's like, "No, what you see in front of you is what's taken me an entire life to be able to learn how to do." And the same goes for you. You have grown to the person you are, and through different experiences, through different education, through all the things that you've gone through in your life. And that's why you are where you are. And you have to remember that as you're creating an effective pricing structure. The next step is to factor in your time. Time is our most valuable asset, and it's something that we'll never get back. Like, we focus so much on how much money do we have to lose. We never think about our time. And so time is going to be a critical pillar when you're creating this pricing structure, all right? So determine, is this group coaching program going to take a certain amount of time? Do you have to do research? Do you have to be certified to teach what you're teaching? How much pre-work do you have to do? How much work do you have to do after? Same thing for one-on-ones. A lot of people think one-on-ones, you just hop on the phone and do talk therapy or something, but you got to work up to that, right? Do you have to prepare documents? Is there homework that you're going to give them? Do they have follow-up and access to you via email? It's so important to consider this as you're creating your pricing structure. So there we go. Those are the steps that you need to take in order to create a pricing structure that aligns with your success. Now, before I go, I do want to share one thing that I think is really important to understand. You're not married to your prices. In fact, you should be changing your prices regularly, all right? So if you find that you've created a price and people are getting a ton of value and you're like, "You know what, I really think it's time to advance this and calling kind of new people." Or you find that you've created a price and you're growing a little bit resentful. Maybe you're doing more work than you originally bargained for. Or maybe on the opposite end, you find that you created a price and you feel a little bit out of alignment and you'd like to lower it just a little bit. The truth is, you get to regularly reflect and adjust accordingly to create prices that are going to be aligned with the overall success that you desire and deserve. So go ahead, take some time today to write out your pricing model, going through these 4 different steps, the 4 different pillars that you need to consider so that you can create a price that feels so good and that you're ready to get out there. The next and final thing that I'm going to give you after you create your price is just a little add-on tip that I like to do when I'm trying to get in alignment with my price. And that is to practice saying it. So practice saying, "I'm worthy of $1,997. I'm worthy of $2,222. I'm worthy of $497. I'm worthy of $9,997. Or whatever the price is that you come to. Practice so that you can really embody it, so that you can really align with it and really begin to believe that you are worthy of it so that you can attract it. All right, guys, I'll let you go ahead and dive in and start working on your prices.